Sunday. Side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here! Relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gas with mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands with the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the MotorMouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
Yeah, I was lucky I found the studio today because there was little traffic on the parkway, and you might think I'm crazy for coming here, but you know what? We do it every week. It's MotorMouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive talk show, with your hosts, Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. Is that correct, Chris?
Oh, yeah. You're a little bit too crazy for coming into the studio on this fine, upstanding Sunday. I agree. Why do you do this, Ray? Yeah. Why? Why do you subject yourself to all this pain and punishment? Why?
Well, so I can play good music to support my addictions, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know.
Like biting into a canker sore every Sunday. I know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yes, yeah. So we do it, and we do it for. Of course, we do it because we like to do it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. But we also
two people that are listening, yes.
And we do it for the listeners. And you know what? Yeah, there's now we have a listener. We have a very special listener today. Oh. Not one of our regulars, but Matt Goman Bryan, who's down. He's not in the great state of
what?
In Maryland. No, he's in Florida.
Oh, no way.
Matco Tool Expo. And I understand he's listening to us as he eats his lunch. Hope he can keep it down. So,
bunch of party animals at the Matco Tool Expo.
I just picture Brian in a pair of board shorts, flip-flops, a flowery shirt, maybe like a
shirt,
Panama hat. He would fit that persona perfect, bumping around the beach, having a good time.
You blend right in.
Exactly.
He's a man who blends.
Yes. And so we try to blend too. You can, of course, be a part of this. Call us at 516-572-7440. Follow us on social media, or MotorMouth Radio on the X and on Facebook, and on Instagram, it's _MotorMouth Radio.
And if you like using your thumbs for fun,
yes,
you can text us at 203-670-4127 here at Text Central.
Right.
I'm looking at my phone. Yes.
We'll do that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to tell you something, Chris. I got to tell you where we stand in the world of media and people who follow. We're pathetic. We're absolutely pathetic.
We are again?
Yeah. No, again, always. Listen, we had, for some reason, our social media, I mean, the accounts just don't really take off. YouTube, especially. MotorMouth Video. This show will be broadcast later on our MotorMouth Video YouTube channel.
Yes.
Well, last week we had Lake Speed Jr. on. Of course, we were talking about oils and whatnot.
And we could have talked to Lake for another 3 hours, I'm sure.
And we will, because we'll get him back on. We have, I have a list, and even Brian said I got a list of stuff I want to talk. Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. The views, our YouTube views are admittedly less than pathetic. I mean, it's like ridiculous.
Right, Lake, less than a dozen.
Lake, 10 times the amount of our best views. Literally, he hit 10 times the amount of our, and Brian said, you mean he even passed me? Yes, Brian, he even blew you out of the water.
Holy smokes.
I mean, I also put that video on our other MotorMouth Radio YouTube channel. which
Right.
has more subscribers than the MotorMouth video channel. And that even got 5 views on there, which was, I mean, still, it's nothing, but still, for a
No,
channel,
it's nothing.
for a channel that's been dormant for 3 years, we haven't put anything on there for 3 years.
So the question lies, how do we get more hits? We have to get more guests, or do we have to take off our clothes? One or the other.
I think definitely the guests would be the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, yeah, for safety's sake. And guys like Lake, I guess. I mean, you never know. And this is the thing: there's people who study this and make careers out of this. Our good friend Keith in Florida, Thursday night on Playing Traffic, we were talking about this, and because he knows a lot of back end stuff, and he thought that, metrics being what they are, like, the guest. I noticed when we've had guests on the show, and they would advertise in their own circle that they were on, and things would come up. We'd get a boost.
Right.
So
Right.
maybe that's it. Maybe it was all just maybe he told 2 people who told 2 people who told 2 people, and they all want to see him on.
Because no one wants to see naked auto advice, right?
No, hell no. So anyway, we'll keep trying. Go to MotorMouth Video, like, subscribe, get in there,
Right.
and put yourself, see if you care to see what we're doing. You may not, it's okay, but
Right, because we're on our goal for 1 million listeners.
oh geez, well, we can't even track that, but I don't know.
We're on that goal. I don't know when we're going to get there, but we're going to get. Someone's got to set themselves on fire or something like that. I have no clue,
Right.
but we'll get there, one way or the other. So this week, automotively, Ray.
Yes, Chris.
You know what I did?
I do not know. What did you do?
I had to succumb to time constraint.
Yeah.
I sold the Mitsubishi.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
What method did you use to sell that? Finally,
Begging and groveling.
that works.
Yeah, it did. Well, I was going for a long shot. I wanted the car to go to a nice family with a teenage son that was looking for a cheap car and a project.
Right.
And of course, my wife went, "You are never going to find that needle in a stack of needles."
Right.
So I endured. I tried, and I got a bevy of strange individuals reaching out to me because this car was attracting strange individuals. It was a car that needed work, obviously, and it was a car that I was asking literally like $1,000 for it.
Well, let me ask you this: how did you advertise it?
I advertised it on eBay. And between you and I will never advertise another vehicle on eBay again, ever.
Why's that?
Because you attract knuckleheads.
Well,
And I would love to put someone on from eBay, a representative, to discuss this. Because the people you put that deal on that site are completely they're vacuous clown heads. I'm sorry to say, but I have history to prove it. I had one guy who actually bought the car. He bought it on eBay, never sent me the money. It was one of those type of nightmare transactions that went nowhere. And the volleying back and forth, how do I get it to the Bronx? Do you have a set of plates? I'm like, you didn't think this through, did you, Bunky?
No.
So that went in the pooper. And of course you have to submit complaints, which takes time to do all these things. And you're not seeing $1 off it. So I went over to Facebook Marketplace, which I was a little concerned about because I'm thinking I wanted, with my unique request, I was thinking of it on a national scale. So now here I am with my unique request on a local scale. And I'm like, oh, my chances are really slim. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace. I had a guy call me, I swear to God, called me 6 times. Called me and said, look, I got to come down. I want this car. I got to come down. Never showed up. Okay, whatever. Calls me again. Sorry, I didn't show up. I'm going to show up today. Set up an appointment. I get the car out of the garage. Doesn't show up. 6 times. This guy doesn't. Now, what could you do? What could you tell the guy? No, don't show up because you're unreliable? No, he's got money. You got a car. You have to accommodate these fools.
Well, if you tell him no, don't show up, that's probably when he will show up.
Probably, right? So I had to laugh because one night It was getting dark. It was like in the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock hour. And I get a call. And a woman, she says, I want to see the car now. I'm like, now? I says, bring a flashlight. You want to see the car now? So young family shows up, teenage son looks at the car, loves the car. The guy was smart enough to bring his own scanner, scanned it, said, yeah, it's a PO 300 code. I got it. So he was well aware of the issues with the vehicle.
Nice.
Paid me right there, threw a set of plates on it, drove it off.
Okay. Problem
I was
solved.
like, fine. So I had to laugh because the six-time guy called me up and said, I want to come and see the car. I says, fat chance, Bunky, it's gone.
Yeah. Well.
So I got my revenge.
Good. That's nice. That's nice.
So it was one of those things. I had to sit there and literally soul search and go, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to invest into this thing.
Yeah.
There's so much more that needs to be done in my world than to take this vehicle and put it back together again.
That was a smart move.
It was, and I mean, I could understand if it was a big block CUDA. Yes, I will invest the time.
Totally different. Yeah, totally.
But when it comes down to dollars and cents, what was this vehicle going to yield me?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. I
And
would
you
put
didn't need it as a vehicle for yourself. So
no, I didn't. So I didn't need it for myself. I mean, believe me, I would have wanted it. It would have been the greatest commuter car in the world. And it's old enough. This is kind of weird because I've owned it for 23 years. It's old enough that it actually was getting looks.
Yeah.
Like it's gotten to that part, like it's almost gone full circle. Like it's so funny to watch a car evolve from new car to, junky used car, and all of a sudden it's starting to like grow in interest. You're starting to see this what would you call it? This organic growth of a vehicle interest start to bloom. It's very cool. It was
Maybe
nice to
see it around town. Who knows? Maybe you'll see.
You never know. You never know.
Because jack it up, put a set of Craigers on it. And,
I'm expecting it to see it painted red and white, all lowered with the wheels out like at a 45-degree angle.
Well, listen, if people want to get their revenge on us, they can call at 516-572-7440 and get in on this. Tell us about what you were doing. I want to, this is kind of interesting. I decided I was looking for something to post. I said, you know what? Kloster's getting a little slim. I got some jobs coming up. I said, you know what? One of the things I've been doing lately, and I talk about it all the time, is I regularly read old car magazines.
Yes, you do.
So I just put a post up. I think I did it yesterday. It was another one of Marty Shaw's mag. Every time I turn around, it's a Marty Shaw magazine. This one. I
remember it vividly. Rodder and Superstock. Yes.
I don't remember. This one was from 1966.
This is a good magazine because I saw your post and I'm
yeah. Well, it caught me because they did an article on the GTX versus the GTO, and then a whole article on the 67 GTO. And then the one that really got me later on in the magazine was these two dragsters, rails, that ran 4-cylinder Pontiac engines. One was fuel injected, one is blown. And I read, I said, a 4-cylinder in a full-size rail in 1967. That was the heyday. And they said, these guys, they built the car and it had no class to put it in. So they kind of gave them their own class. And I thought, wow, that's just so oddball. So now I'm going to do that again. I took another couple out of my stock today, and here's another super stock.
Okay. Yeah. What is? Oh, yeah. That's a shot of a front engine dragster. That's the engine, right?
Now this
a unique view for those of you that are going to watch this on YouTube.
And then you can see this on Instagram and social media later. I thought this was an ad for the Ford Galaxy. It's a full page.
It's a 65.
That magazine's from March of 65.
Okay.
So I thought it was just an ad for the Galaxy, but no, you go in another page and it's a whole article on this 427 Galaxy.
Great. It was a great engine and great car. Yeah.
I got to tell you something. These pages are so fragile. You're not going to be able to see it, but in the two little pictures on the bottom, they show a fellow working on the car.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're tough to see.
Let me give you a little, I said, wait a minute. That guy kind of looks, I thought like I saw a little familiarity.
I recognize those man hands.
Right here. George Snizik tunes the 427 to factory specs, sets the points to 20,000s. Again, here we see George checking the timing. So we know George Snizik.
Of course we do.
Right from the Aces team. So I said, that's it. That's going up. I'm going to, maybe not today, maybe I'll do it during the week, but I'm going to post that.
That's right.
So
MotorMouth's favorite flat top.
And back then he didn't have a flat top.
Right?
Nope, he did not yet.
Holy smokes. No flat top and fade away, huh? Greatest haircut in the business.
And the funny thing is now, I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I haven't done it. I'm curious, like how many more magazines did Marty actually masthead? I mean, man,
oh my gosh,
around there's another Marty Shore magazine, which
has to be in the dozens. At least.
I wouldn't be surprised. So
yeah, exactly. Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty incredible. I love it. Yeah, because I saw you post it. Yeah, like you said, it was only a couple of days ago, and I'm like, what a great article. I would want to read that. The GTO and I mean, obviously I would side for the GTO because on the cover, the GTX is a hardtop and the GTO that they're testing is a convertible.
Yeah.
So if I had my druthers, I would take the convertible, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was good.
The GTX is nice.
In these magazines, they did a lot of that. It was kind of a magazine you could buy if you obviously like racing, because there's a lot of racing content and, race car content, how to build a bracket car, how to build your own. And then they covered the big guys as well. They covered the pro stuff. But then they'd always do like a new car review. They threw a new car review or two in there. Like I said, that's GTX against the GTO. Like, let's see what these two guys have in common or what they don't, and let's see how they stack up against each other. So it was a very well-rounded magazine. And given Marty's acumen, even back in 1965, he was on it, man. He was on it, without a doubt.
I believe it. Well, he definitely had his finger on the pulse of automotive performance all around. I mean, he was always visible in all of that, because I remember it's like you and I can honestly say, reading these magazines, I think we've grown up with him, because I've always seen him in those magazines. I've always seen him either holding a trophy or standing next to a vehicle. He was always involved in some sort of automotive marketing plan.
Right.
And it didn't matter the car. I mostly remember him with Pontiacs.
So the guys older than us that knew these magazines when they were new and on the stands, I didn't. I wasn't reading them when I was a kid. I didn't. I come into to the story from Motion, which is already past most of these magazines. It's
right. You lived it. You didn't have to read it. You lived it. You were there.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know who he was prior to that. It's
just some guy hanging around the shop.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, what, and it's, I'm happy to say that, Marty is still with us. He's down in Florida. And, I reached out to him a while ago when Joel Rosen passed to see if he would come on and maybe talk. He says, maybe we'll wait a little bit. We'll do it. He's always a hard guy to pin down. He has an advertising company. He's still
right.
He's very active.
What is his podcast? He does like a Cars and Coffee-esque. Car Guy Chronicle. That's it.
Actually, he had posts today. When I get home, in fact, I'll have that email of the Car Guy Chronicles. So then I was looking for that. I was looking for a link to that because I wanted to, link the post to him, but I guess he doesn't have. I guess he just does an email. He doesn't have that social media presence on there. I guess he doesn't. Right. He doesn't want to be bothered with it. Doesn't need it, obviously.
I can almost assume. My theory would be that I think the Car Guy Chronicle came first because that's what they did down in Florida. They would just park in parking lots and just, shoot the breeze and just hang out and talk. And I can almost assume that like Cars and Coffee came from that sort of thing. It's the only thing I can figure that is what that transpired.
Right.
From the Car Guy Chronicle, because I really do think Marty was first in a lot of things, that being one of them.
Well, I don't think he was first in Cars and Coffee. I think guys have been doing that for a while.
Well, that's what I mean. No, I think Car Guy Chronicles was first. I would think it would be. I mean, I just remember that before Cars and Coffee. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
That's another one of those. That's one of those terms that started not here. I remember hearing it saying like what, and then now everybody uses it. It's become like one of those widely, just widely accepted terms. Cars and Coffee. Even if you go to a place that doesn't have coffee, it's Cars and Coffee. All right. I just call them cruise nights. But
I got to kill a stink bug. Hold on a second.
oh, how nice. That's good.
There you go.
Exterminating on the fly.
Yep, got him.
Oh, yeah. So, like I said before,
Connecticut is filled with these things, mind you.
Nice, very good.
I saw him fly in. He just went right up my screen. I caught him right at that point where I could just nail him, like bang.
So I'm anxious to see how Brian's making out at the expo, because I have a standing order in for a couple things, and he told me a while ago, wait till after expo and we'll see what fleshes out. So I'm like,
what kind of condition he's in?
No, not him. It's it's what's released and what's available and whatnot, and there's always corporate news and things, and that's how those dealers get that is their network. So that's how they find out. That's kind of like the Christmas party, if you will. And all the tool companies do that. They all do that. It's a yearly thing.
I'm just amazed that a bunch of guys are sitting around talking about their tools.
Yeah.
I think that's extraordinary.
Well, hey, listen, if you were a tool guy, you'd sit around talking about your tool too.
You betcha. I'd be proud. What are you kidding me?
Yeah. One of the things I want to get that I'm getting hot for now is, I was explaining to Brian, I have a tool bag that I carry. I got it at Harbor Freight. It's the biggest one that they have. I need the tote.
For your big tool.
No, I have all my brake bleeding stuff in that bag.
Okay.
So it's in a central location. So, but now I want to add something else. Is going to be a second bag, because I want to get the pressure bleeder that attaches to the master cylinder and forces, like the bleeder I have now, they call it a power bleeder, where you put the hose on the wheel on the brake, the fitting, the bleeder valve, and you put shop air on it, and it actually makes the Bernoulli effect. It has air over a tube, which creates a vacuum and sucks the fluid out. And this comes with a container that you can now attach to the master cylinder, so it automatically fills the master as you're taking it out of the wheels. You don't have to keep running back and checking.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I mean, they've been doing that for a while. But the one I want now, because I've said this for years, all cars are different and none of them bleed the same. No. And the one I want now is it attaches to the master cylinder, and what it'll do is force the fluid through the master into the brake system, just like it forced my hand on the phone button so I could say, "Hi, caller, you're on with the Motor Mouths."
Gentlemen, happy Sunday.
Hey, Bob. What's up?
Robert.
So I'm speaking to the brake bleeder boys.
That's true.
That's us.
All right. So you got the crazy chestnut man there from Connecticut on the line too. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, we're fully stacked and stoked today, Bob.
Carrying our tool in a big bag, Bob.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. So my question to you is this: you had mentioned last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, in reference to the sequence for the ABS brake lights, etc. For, I think it was an Avalanche, or was it a Chevy sequence for?
Yeah, I was talking about an Avalanche I worked on. Mike's Avalanche. That's a while ago. Yeah.
Okay, so granted, I'm a little behind the.
That's okay.
Anyway, so that sequence, the correct sequence would take the ABS brake light back into its proper proper place now? Is that how it is? Is that what you discovered?
No, I think we're kind of skewed here. The brake sequence dictates which wheel gets bled first, second, third, and fourth. That's the sequence.
No, I got that.
Okay.
But that also, did that eliminate the ABS light?
It depends why the ABS light is on. And if the ABS light isn't coming on because you need a brake bleed, the ABS light's coming on because there's probably a fault in the ABS circuitry or a sensor. Maybe it could be the wheel speed sensor. Right. So that's a separate problem. You can bleed the brakes for 5 days and still have an ABS light on if you have a fault that causes that code.
Bob, I got to ask you: is there an issue with the brakes themselves? Does the car stop?
The car stops. The ABS light comes on, and so does the brake light come on. I did calipers. I did calipers. Did pads. the brakes do stop well. Probably 85% of the time, those two idiot lights go on, and 15% of the time they don't go on. So what I have discovered on more than one occasion is when those two lights do come on, I in fact do not have ABS.
Okay. So you didn't open the hydraulic system at all, right? You didn't open the fluid end of it.
I had changed I myself had changed at one time there's a hydraulic booster on the 2500 series because of the weight.
Okay.
There's a hydro booster on the brake system on the 6 liters and the 8.1s, not on the 5.3s.
Well, the first thing you need to do, unfortunately, is you need to scan it and see what codes are present, and then work from there. But the ABS, it's going to be it's a component. I mean, it could be hopefully it's not the ABS pump or accumulator. Those are expensive parts to change and can be very difficult on it as the vehicle gets aged because of rust. Right. Sensor, like a wheel sensor, that's not a big deal usually, although those be pretty rusty too. But the wiring, Bob, you have to look at the wiring, see if that was damaged.
Bob, how old is your battery in the car?
It's an Interstate I bought down on Buffalo Avenue in Freeport.
How old is it?
What do you think, Chris? Low system voltage?
No, it's the I thank you for asking. The battery's less than 2 years old.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Because I've had an issue with an ABS light going on in a vehicle because of a low battery. And it was not the system at all. It was just a warning from the car, basically, because when the battery was charged, the light went out.
What car was that, Chris?
It was the Mitsu.
Because I learned from Joe that different cars, like Toyotas, for instance, to give you an example, I remember my daughter had called me one day. We were here in the studio, and she says, "Dad, I can't believe it was a snowy day." And she goes, "All the lights, my whole dashboard lit up." And Joe's like, "Tell her to calm down. Hold on." Toyota does that. They have a fault. They light the place up because they figure that'll make somebody go and get it looked at instead of. And hers was just again, it was I think some ice on the sensor. It froze up a little. So. There's all these little codicils that go on.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. It was just one of those random questions, just to prevent you from spending money.
Well, Joe, Bob, I'll tell you this: you're in Rockville Center. There's, I was just there the other day at Tire Town. My buddies had to go get an inspection. I use those guys all the time, and I trust them. They know what they're doing. If you roll in there and ask them if they could throw a scanner on there for you to give you their impression, I'm sure they would do it. And and then let you make up your mind what you want to do. They're very competent down there.
Yeah, those guys have always been square. I bought tires from them for years.
Yep.
They're good people.
Smoking Joe globally.
It's a celebrity in my eyes.
And Jeff
his brother also.
Jeff is on his brother's there all the time, but Jeff is also on the desk with him. You'll probably see him if you come after 12 because Joe will be out of there. But the guys in the back row are very competent too. And, it's one of those things you need to have more than just a conversation. You need to have a little hands-on time and see what's going on. But if the ABS is not functioning at some point, there is definitely something at fault.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I picked up the wheel speed sensors. I ordered them. We'll see where it takes us. I'm still hoping to get to the fall with the Suburban. It doesn't mean me anything.
Right.
I listen to other guys, and we're all doing the same thing, just trying to get by,
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, thanks for another great Sunday, guys.
Okay, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye, guys.
All right, so long. All righty. Yeah, a lot of that's the thing, Chris, with talking. We can talk till we're blue in the face, but until you... Sometimes you have to get hands-on and you have to put a scanner on. You have to look, see componentry, see if there's a wiring issue. There's more than meets the eye sometimes.
I totally agree.
But I'll tell you, just like Wednesdays at 7, you may want to listen to Caribbean Mix on this station. You'll learn a lot about, not ABS, but you'll learn a lot about music because hosts Kendra Stephen and Marjorie DeJour They are the hottest compa and Caribbean hits from yesterday and today played on that show, plus Haitian news events and more. So that's something you may want to know about. And
I'm in.
Yeah, you're in.
I'm in.
We're in with this beautiful sunny weather. Our HPC forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. Today, high of only 38. It was a little cool this morning. Nice and sunny, bright sun. Tonight's going to be mostly clear. Give away to mostly cloudy skies overnight, low 33. Some rain coming in on Wednesday. But what do you have first? You have an honor group for us? Do we have?
Of course I do. Of course we have weather. I can see clear across to the weather window and see bright sunshine. So we got about the same thing, only about 5 degrees less. No one really cares about the weather in Connecticut anyway. So the MotorMouth Radio honor group of the hour. Sit back and relax. This is going to be a long one. If you still drive a vehicle that is equipped with an ashtray, remember those sliding, pulling, poking, pushing, prodding, yanking compartments living within the confines of your dashboard? As a car guy in your youth, one would have all kinds of ideas for that cup-like receptacle. If you didn't use it for smoking, like cigarettes, like our parents did, you know the ones, right? Everybody would roll the windows up in the car. They'd all start puffing away, and breathing was optional. You know that, right? So you would use it to store cute little things or some things in cute little bags. And we'll just leave that right there. If you were really handy in my neck of the automotive world, you would chuck the ashtray and cut out the hole bigger for an FM tuner. Because nobody was foolhardy enough to cut up a dashboard for an aftermarket radio. In my neighborhood, any automotive accessory had to be hidden in order for it to be cool.
Not stolen.
No, not stolen, exactly. So, if you still drive a car or truck sporting an ashtray in the dash, you are part of the MotorMouth Radio honor group of the hour. And be thankful you didn't have to grow up trying to be as innovative with just using a cup holder.
Very cool. That's a good one.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to take our break. We'll be back with more MotorMouth Radio, where you can call us and talk about your car concerns in just a few minutes on 90.3 WHPC. Let's, what do you say we shake it up a little bit, Chris? All right, ready?
Good idea.
All right, we'll be back in a minute. Keep where you got it. This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services: 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar lifetime nationwide warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
You're listening to the Motor Mouth.
How's that for a motor mouth?
I could be out driving my Corvette. I don't have to be here talking to you.
Motor mouth.
Who's this, Ray or Chris?
Yes, it's me.
Hey, how you doing, Motor Mouth?
Are you guys taking Quaaludes before the show?
Long-time caller, first-time listener.
Yeah, because Ray brings in his tools every week, and Chris brings in his tools.
Motor mouth.
And then they compare tools.
You excite me. Every time I travel, I always bring my Motor Mouth Radio t-shirt with me.
Whip me, beat me, make me write bad checks.
I have a question for these guys.
Our trained staff of 2 will help.
To you guys when I'm on my lunch and I'm usually driving around.
We look for 2-door cars now instead of...
Oh, I never bought a 4-door car. Cut it out.
I've gotten so much response from you guys being on the radio talking this thing up.
Quite frankly, there are better things to do with your time.
Thank you. We need you guys out there like you wouldn't believe.
You know, I really appreciate you guys getting us on there. That was very nice of you.
Yeah, I want to know what the is wrong with my car.
I'm not going on a trip with you.
I'm up here in the Bronx.
Motor mouth.
And when I listen, I'm getting half Spanish music and half you guys. It is balloon. This is a good way to blow an automotive show over hell. I'm going to let you guys go. You guys are off the hook.
Thank you.
There are answers, sometimes correct ones, and we may have them.
MotorMouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC.
Motor mouth.
Hey, you, get over here. every Sunday, 12 to 1. You are going to tune in to hear the Motor Mouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Shake it up. Yeah, shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up again. Especially if you got a gin and tonic going there and you got the little cocktail mixer and all. Shake it. Don't stir it. Damn it. Come on. All right. That was.
Foam it up.
There we go. MotorMouth Radio. Give us a call, 516-572-7440. That means even you, Brian, in Florida. Yes, you can call too because you can tell us how the weather is down there. Like we really just to rub it in.
That was a good promo. That promo had Joel Rosen in there. That had Dennis the Goat Man in there. That had Bob from Rockville Center cleaning us up at the back end of that one. Yeah.
And it had Marty Shore.
Marty Shore was in there too. That's right.
That's promo number 7.
Yeah, that was way back.
I'll go back to the end. You know, I still haven't resolved the problem I had with burning the promos to a CD.
I was going to ask you. It was really messing you up, right?
Well, actually, I didn't even really get back and try.
Oh,
well, you know,
it was just odd that one would work out great, and then the others would be garbled messes. So I'm still perplexed as to why that
really is. It's my lifestyle. During the week, I just really don't have time to go and sit. I don't have the compunction to sit in front of a computer and do stuff a lot. No. It's rough. So I'm busy. So what I did was this morning when I was at the desk setting up StreamWriter to record the show, I have a stack. It's got to be a stack about a foot tall of CDs. Some
really
all the old ins and outs that we had, all stuff that from when you were here at the console.
Right.
It was all that stuff that you handed off to me. And then CDs that I've accumulated over the years that I burned with music and Mother's Day shows and blah, blah. So I said, let me just look through them. And I found about 5 of the promos that were that you had given me on CD after you had made them. Mm-hmm. So that's what I used today. And of course, there's 8 tracks on that CD, and it's all the same. Talk about redundancy. Man, you didn't go for like twice or 3 times. 8.
No. Yeah. Well, the thing was, I was always fearful of playing a CD, and like you say, you're in the middle of the show, and it doesn't play it correctly. It's a garbled mess. But now it's going to the second track, which could very well be another different song that you don't need. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'll just put 8 copies of the same thing. So if one gets messed up, I can always go to track 2 or track 3, and you still have a good copy, allegedly, if nothing physically happens to the CD.
I understand the theory behind it. It was just kind of funny. So it was, and it's good to hear these old ones again because they're fun. It's the history of the show that's in there. It's so funny. So it's really.
I still smile every time. Not just because I did it. It's just because they're just pretty good.
You do. You have to smile. It really is an encapsulation of what went on in that last 4 months.
Right.
Of time.
So now the one I'm going to plan on doing is going to be really good because it's been a year.
Oh, geez. You can't, I don't know how you're going to do it in the same footprint. It just
it's rough. It really is.
Leave out is going to be, we even with Mother's Day, we always said, it always hurt when you had to do that final cut, and I gotta lose this bit. I just don't have the time. You hate to throw any of that stuff out because it's all good, and it made the cut because it was good. But now you got to make room for something else. So
it's the truth, and you always have to. You're a slave to the hour. Yeah. So you and I have done it where we've had that discussion during the end of the show, going, got to get rid of that one.
Yeah. So I tell you, talking about car, we're talking about car repair. I have a project looming here, and I'm just waiting to get out to the garage to do the first half of it. Because last time when I had my car out, when Kevin and I went to that car meet a couple of weeks ago, I made sure when I came home, I backed my Pontiac into the garage so that the driver's side is facing the work area where I have space.
Right.
I'm going to pull my steering column out, and I want to bring it into the house, and I'll work on it. I bought a new directional cam cancel mechanism.
Right.
That runs down the column.
So far, this is complete overkill, so I'm listening.
How is that overkill?
It's because you got to pull the whole column out to get the...
No, I don't. I don't have to.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Why are you doing it?
I bought one other part, too.
Oh.
Which is the lower bushing.
Now you got to pull the
which
column.
has some play. So the
Right.
upper one in that directional cam is the upper bearing. It is part of the directional cam. And in those years, I found out that the Pontiacs were a little weird with stuff. There was, I think, a Delco Moraine switch. Now, in the later years, like in the 70s, when I started playing around with directionals and fixing things, the directional, those little cams on either side had a specialty spring on it that would return it, right, when the wheel came back. And I actually have a collection of those springs. I bought the steering wheel lock plate remover tool because when they went to the column key, GM put a lock. You pull the wheel off, and there's this disc,
right,
that has a kind of a buried kind of C clip, and you put this tool, you thread it onto the shaft where the steering wheel went, and it's got a two-legged affair which pushes that plate down. Then you can get the clip off and remove the plate. Now you have access to the steering column and the ignition switch.
Correct. I remember vaguely doing this.
In that box, I have all of these spare springs.
That's funny because I may need one because one of the sides of the Chrysler, one side, I'm trying to remember which side, doesn't cancel. You can
Chrysler
turn it
may
on.
be different than the GM. We'll have to look and compare notes.
I got to pull the wheel off mine anyway. That's why I'm intently listening here.
So it ends up that in '65, my car, when I looked first time I looked at this part, there were options. And it ends up that the ears, the directional cams on mine are all plastic. There's no metal spring. And that's a unit that was made by a company called Boyne, Boyne.
It's the sound it makes when it breaks.
Well, actually, no, not really. I have my left side, when I make a left turn, it doesn't always uncancel, where the right side always does. It just gets weak. It just gets, it weakens. So
same with mine. I know it's the same thing.
So I bought the part. Of course, it started going up and up over the years, and I waited and waited, and I spent more than I wanted to. But then it ends up just this year. I bought it twice. I bought it like 2 months apart. I bought it twice. I had to send one.
That's called old age. But now let me ask you: there are different designs, or like from different companies that General Motors used.
Yeah.
When the supply was right, I'm assuming. So you could have one or the other. You have to pull the wheel off and see. Oh wow!
Yes.
Holy smokes!
And it goes further than that. Because in all the ones that I looked at, I said, okay, they have a Delco or a Boyne, okay, and they tell you how to determine it. There's also, it says not for tilt wheel.
Right, they will be different.
So I'm like, why is it different for tilt wheel? That part tilts with the mechanism. Well, I found out that in '65, because I have a tilt column.
I can tell you why. Can I tell you why? I can tell you why. I can tell you why. I can tell you why. Because your shaft is different.
No, that's not why. No, the steering wheel is different.
The steering wheel is different?
I happen to have a tilt out of a '65 Le Mans, and I was going to put it in my car.
I thought you had a different shaft, sir.
So one day when I was looking at this, I said, what, I'm going to get to the bottom of this because no one tells you what's different, only that it won't fit. They can't.
Right.
So I took the wheel off that tilt column, and I looked, and the back of the wheel where the horn mechanism is totally different. It's the horn mechanism on the tilt wheel is built into the steering wheel, as opposed to having a separate disc that just rides between the wheel and the in the column. So therefore, if you were to, I guess a lot of guys who change their steering wheel, put an aftermarket wheel, they lost their horn, unless they could rig it some other way. So it's funny when you reverse engineer something that was going on for 50 years. So the wheel in my car, I was able to change it and just use like a Grant kit, and I have a horn, no problem, but not with the tilt. So what I decided to do is to sell that column, because I do have the full column with the correct wheel, which is now it's a unit that can be used.
So you have a tilt wheel for that car? You have the column, or you sold that?
No, I have it.
Oh, that would go right in. Are you kidding?
Well, except the only thing I have to do is there is something different. The car that I had that I'd stripped was a Le Mans Custom, and it was decked out. It was a 326 automatic, AC, power windows, tilt wheel, AM/FM radio, 4-door. then
Okay. It was
So-
more doors. Okay.
Yeah. So the tilt column is a column shift. So what I've done is not a problem. You take the arm off, you cut the nub off, you do a little metal work, and you take off that the indicator on top. You can
Right.
that.
So
Or
it
you
would
can
be like the Chevelles that had the
Yeah.
the shifter on the column. You saw the collar actually turn.
Well, this wouldn't do that. This
Oh,
wouldn't do that because in '65 there was no lockout. There was no
okay.
lockout. That's only when the shifter locked out with the wheel.
Because
So
I remember my buddy Corey had a 70 Chevelle, and if he shifted, you saw the column actually turn
Right.
with him moving the gears on the
Because he
floor.
still had the linkage in place. He didn't take that linkage out, which he could.
Oh no, he bought the car that way. That was, I think, that was factory because he didn't have the wherewithal to do that.
Okay, all right. So yeah, it's
If you knew him, you would know he didn't have
Well,
the wherewithal to do
I
that.
plan on taking that column out and then bringing it in the house, and I'm just
Right.
going to change the, the switch, which is easy, and then the lower bushing, which is, which was worn. So
I have done what you are talking about
Mhm.
on my '63 Cadillac.
Oh yeah.
I had a tilt wheel that I swapped out with the regular wheel.
Uh-huh.
And mind you, it was the whole column and wheel affair itself.
Yeah.
But I used the wheel with the column, the wheel that came with the column. But I had to put, once I sent the whole shebang in there, I noticed that the shaft on the tilt wheel, the splines were smaller than the yoke it was going into.
Was it
So
from the same
because
year
it was,
car?
huh?
Was it from the same year car?
Yes.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I had to, the yoke that it was going into was a two-piece affair that had a rubber bomb.
That's all cars have that. That's the
Right.
There's a name for that. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
And
steering coupler. We call it
so
steering
the coupler, exactly. So I had to decouple the coupler and
Right.
get the one for the tilt wheel and put that in place.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't realize it until I sent the whole thing home, and then I go
Right,
like
right,
this. I'm
right.
like, it's just turning.
Yeah.
Nothing
And
was
there's a
happening.
special bolt that goes in there too in the coupler.
Mhm.
Well, I got another one for you. And to sell. I when I parted out the '71 Riviera, the boat tail, I have the complete column out of that car with the steering wheel as well. That car was a floor shift car. So that's
Nice.
a Riviera console column without a shift nub. So
when are you going to start selling this stuff on that fine upstanding website that I've been talking about so
yeah.
badly?
Vince is right. He says we also call that a rag joint. That was commonly called a rag.
Rag joint. Yes.
I don't know why. Cause maybe in the
Thank you, Vince.
days it was like layered leather. Who knows? But these are
Yeah.
definitely like a rubbery fiber embedded rubber. Yeah.
And that was the funny thing about that. You would think it would disintegrate after a couple of years. No, 50 years, they look fine. It's frightening.
I had one break on me.
Really?
Because,
Oh, wow.
It's probably because of me as a teenager. At one point, I had swapped the motor in my car and I put a small block Chevy in it. And the Chevy in the Pontiac, I couldn't get the power steering didn't made up. So I drove it. I drove a power steering car that had a power steering box with no power steering. And of course, I had my mom in the car and we were making a turn onto Sunrise Highway one day. And in the middle of the turn, whoa, the wheel got real easy. Like, whoa, no, hang on. We have to coast to the side here. Yeah. Just not having a power steering, I overstressed that rag joint.
Oh no, holy smokes. Yes, because that rag joint would be built and designed for power steering, and you're using it as Armstrong steering.
Now, I don't know. I worked in oil parts. I don't remember ever. Then again, I honestly now I can't honestly remember selling one of those from an oil parts store, but I don't ever remember seeing an application for power steering or non-power steering.
Right.
But it's not like I look those things up every day.
Yeah, I would assume it would be a more robust affair.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll look in one of my catalogs, one of the repro catalogs from for the cars I have, and see how they listed. And speaking of that, we have a prospective guest to come on the show soon. I have to meet with this gentleman. He's actually an importer of parts that gets sold to those companies, those repro companies.
Nice.
So he told me, he says, I'm not in it for my name. I don't put my name on the parts or nothing. I just import, sell to them, and they sell to you. So, and our good friend, our Tom from Massapequa, put me in touch with this fella.
Oh wow! Thank you, Tom.
We'll see if maybe this week we want to sit and do a face to face over coffee or whatever, and and talk a little bit. And yeah, I'd love to have him on because that's using the catalogs like that for years. I sometimes wondered where do all these parts come from, and sometimes you get a part from one company that has another company's name on it. I guess they could maybe swap inventory or whatever.
It's funny because you automatically think that they are in charge of manufacturing their own parts.
Right. No.
But that's not the case with what we're talking about now. Yeah, that's really, it's eye-opening.
And I know what they did is they started, even in, if you look at OPG or you look at Ames or look at Year One, they do have now usually a section in the back, which is more aftermarket stuff. It's blatantly aftermarket. Harley Sniper, you want a Hirsch shifter, it's all aftermarket, branded aftermarket. But case in point, last year, when I bought that power trunk release for my car, I got it from Ames and they listed it and all. When it came, it was like, I think it's like Automotive Electric or something. It was another company. They had their instruction sheet in there with the, and when I had a problem with it, activating by itself, I called that company directly.
You didn't call Ames, right?
No. I said, no, I'll call the company who made it. I'm going to call,
the distributor.
So
why call the middleman?
Yeah. So, so we'll hopefully have him on and he's going to come in the studio with us. So we'll hopefully we'll put something together and get that, because that's something that we all use those catalogs and places. And I mean, I've spent a lot of money to the catalog places.
Yes, you have.
But the beauty of that is you find out, like what I did in the beginning when I was buying my Pontiac stuff, the big stuff at least. If there's a show where they're at, like they used to go to Englishtown to the swap meet.
Right.
I'd put my order in either on the phone or online and say, I'll pick up at that show. So they have everything ready for you. And what you save on the shipping is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're buying big parts, and I did that a couple times. I just picked it up at the show.
Yeah, the shipping could be a budget buster right away.
Yeah.
You kidding? Of course. Yeah. Any way to save. But that's actually a good idea. And I've seen a lot of my C-body guys do that. A lot of the Chrysler guys, like, hey, we're going to be at Chrysler's at Carlisle. We'll deliver it.
Sure. Yeah.
And it really is smart, especially with what the things I'm personally looking for, like seats. I mean, you can't ship them.
Right.
There's one guy on I think it's eBay, that's got a set an interior. It's green though, for my car.
Your car.
Yeah, and he's like, huh?
You're greener now, so it's perfect.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about. Well, the funny thing is, I got the white door panels on. It's the interior is going to be like 100,000 colors.
I'd rather see it white and green than all green. Truthfully.
No, I don't want to see it all green.
So what would your other choice be?
Well, I've been seeing a lot more white.
Okay, that's nice.
And that's what and at least with white, I have a wider range of choices. You know me, I always want what belonged in the car originally, but because my choices are so limited to what I can find, I'm branching out. Like I'll look for like 66, 67 bucket seats, because they're nice. They have like a chrome applique on the back of the seat. They look really cool, and they don't have the headrests. I don't want the headrests.
So now, if you're considering a bucket seat conversion,
sure.
What are you going to do about your inboard holes?
Well, what I'm going to do about that is, basically, I would have to get rid of the. You mean for the carpet, like the holes in the carpet?
The bucket seats have two rails,
right? So I would just re-drill and weld a nut.
I'll tell you. Well, I don't know about the Chrysler, but I'll tell you this: in my experience with cars, and I've done that on a number of cars, the seats usually never just fall into place. They're not level, so you have to. So some companies, for the popular cars, make conversion mounts.
Oh, very
fill
good.
Up that space.
Mm-hmm.
You could fabricate it yourself if you have the wherewithal and the metal. But
if you look under the car, there is a bracket that runs the full width of the car, so you can drill to that bracket. It's not like you'd be drilling into just plain old sheet steel.
You need front and back too. So it's not just a cross. You need front and back, and like I said, it's really like the feet of the seat have to fall on something flat. You don't want your seat crooked,
right? Obviously.
That's where the problem comes. But and then the carpet, of course, there was usually a different carpet for bucket seats and
Totally, and that's where I thought you were going with. Yeah, the carpet would have to get replaced, but the carpet I have in there is
but you got a carpet from a guy, right?
But it was not. I knew that this was going to be a temporary carpet because the one I had in there was a mouse-eaten mess.
Right.
So I just wanted that disgusting thing out of there. So I made a deal with a guy, and he had a used carpet. I said, "Yeah, I'll take it.
All right,
no problem." Yeah, it was actually a great deal. It was one of the C-body guys out of the club. He says, "Look, I got the carpet, pay for shipping." I'm like, "Hey."
I'll tell you the truth. One of the things on my list to change on my cars, I'm actually thinking of swapping the carpet on my car.
Why?
Color. I'm thinking about everything in the car is black.
I think that's great. I'm shooting for
black
that.
door panels, black carpet. It's just a lot of black. So I'm thinking of going with a gold carpet.
That's what I just took out.
They made it in those years, and now that I have the external color of gold, I think the gold carpet, and I'll have black floor mats on it. I think it'll just give it enough of a pop to kind of make that interior,
And it's a nice, easy, barely inexpensive fix because a carpet for your car probably goes anywhere from between $200 and $300.
Yeah, it's a couple $100.
So they're not that bad.
And I've been in there, everything was new. So it's not like I'm ripping out, 50-year-old old carpet. Everything in there is brand new. So it'll be an afternoon change, really. Not a big deal.
That's really all it is. And you're not worried about unfreezing or unseizing any bolts because it's all been tampered with. So it'll all just come zooming right out.
Right. So that's something. I'm thinking about the same thing.
Not a bad idea. But then you have to paint the kick panels. And then you have to paint the lowers on the doors.
No. That's staying all black. That's all going to stay black because I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with changing just the carpet. The only thing that it's not going to look funny, but I do have carpet on the bottom of my door panels.
Yes, you do. They're
that
black.
is black. So, you know what? I think I can live with that. I can.
Yes, and then hopefully this spring I'll be spraying my kick panels from gold to black on the Chrysler if I still have it.
Right.
I preface everything with if I still have it.
Right. Well, what we don't have is any more time. It's time for us to go and let Kim come in and do Thunder Road, Best of Springsteen and the Band. We know there'll be more listeners to this show than ours, so they'll enjoy it thusly. But check us out on MotorMouth Video if you dare. And Chris, we'll be back next week. Maybe I'll land a guest. I don't know. I'll let you know. We'll see what happens. What do we say to people waiting for me outside in the parking lot?
Both of you, don't follow us home.
Right. So for Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, MotorMouth Radio, we'll be back next week on 90.3 WHPC. See ya.
See ya, bye.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car.